How did you come up with the idea for making garlic infused lures that also glow UV light?
Well, that's a two-part question. I guess I'll start with the garlic. The garlic I actually got, I don't remember who I got it from. It was at a fishing show. And they had these little, like, sticky gel tubes. And it was garlic. And I don't even remember how we got convinced to buy them, but I got one to try. It was kind of like Procure that you, like, smeared on the baits. And, tried it out. I didn't use it all the time because that sticky gel is kind of messy, but always carried it with me. And some of those days where they were just being a little more finicky and not really committing, you could add a little bit on there. And figured out over a couple of years that there's definitely days that they're like keying in on scent for whatever reason. Like you got to have it, whether they're using it to find it or that's just the mood they're in. I don't know, but kept using that sticky gel, kept catching fish. I didn't use it all the time. If they were eating it without it, I wouldn't put it on there. But like I said, there's definitely days that you needed it, and it made a considerable difference. And so when we started playing with, shooting baits and making it for ourselves, that was kind of one of the first things we tried to do. Was thought it'd be cool if we could have the garlic in the baits, so we didn't have to carry that sticky gel. So we kind of figured out how to infuse it, which was another problem entirely, because you just squeeze a little bit of oil in a bag. I'm sure anyone watching this has tried it, but you get those baits that say they're scented and it's just a little oil in the bag, and after a cast or two all the oil's gone and they don't really smell anymore. So figuring out how to get it into just a regular soft plastic like this. This isn't like the Gulp or anything where they just shred up, or it's like that spongy stuff. Took a little tinkering and a little testing, but figured out how to get it in there where it doesn't wear off. It's always there. So you always got that garlic scent. Didn't have to carry that sticky gel anymore. Contrary to popular belief, you get this garlic on your fingers and you can rinse it off. It's not stuck there forever like that gel is. And then second part of the question, it's a little long-winded answer, but that's how I roll. The UV glow stuff, we were night fishing down here in South Texas, and when you night fish in saltwater, typically during the summers, I don't know if it's the heat or whatever, it kind of goes away in the winter, but during the summers, there's like bioluminescent plankton or bacteria or something in the water. And some nights it was so bad that, like, when you were running out there in the boat, your prop wash was like bright blue. And we started noticing that anytime the water was disturbed, if you splashed the water, it would light up. And it was all kind of these greenish, bluish. Sometimes it was a little reddish, little flashes of light. And anything, if a mullet was jumping or a bait fish was swimming away or something like that, all those little splashes, that bacteria or whatever it was would light up. So that bacteria would light up, and kind of had an idea that, like, you can't tell me predators, whether it's fish you're going after or whatever, don't know to look out for that. Sit down in the grass or whatever, and some big splash of light above them, like that's probably a bait fish that just jumped and landed back in the water. And so we started ordering some different glow powders and, a whole bunch of different stuff to mix in there and try to get them to glow and just see how it worked. And we were just trying to mimic those flashes, that glow that came from that plankton or bacteria. I've read that it's both. There's bioluminescent plankton, there's bioluminescent bacteria. I don't know what specifically is in the bay down here, but, you could see it. And we started putting glows into them to fish with at night. And then we started noticing that during the day, they seemed to work a little better. And the big key to us that kind of solidified this theory was, we're fishing baits in like chocolate colored water, like super dirty, super windy, super blown out. And the fluorescent / glowing baits seem to get more bite. And all of this is done over, a couple of years at least, a couple hundred fishing trips of just kind of tinkering around with stuff and paying attention to what was going on. And anyway, we just kind of noticed over time that even during the day, the glows and the UV stuff seemed to help out. So we started incorporating it into a lot of our colors, you know, where it wasn't just that standard straight glow with a chartreuse tail that a lot of companies offer, or that most of them did back then. I think there's more selling glow stuff now, but anyway, so, you know, we took the same color, you know, that watermelon red chartreuse, and the chartreuse just glows now, right? So you still got the same looking color, you still got the same visual, everything. Just on top of that, you've got the glow and a little bit of that UV reflectiveness. So anyway, once we realized the glows and everything seemed to help during the day, we incorporated into all the colors and made them work better for us, so we kept them in there. Obviously they help you at night when they're glowing and stuff, but during the day is the real difference. That's when most people are fishing. So anyway, yeah, that's basically how we figured out everything, was just having an idea, seeing something cool, trying it out. If it seemed to make a difference, we'd keep fishing it and see if we could confirm that difference, you know, as much as you can with fishing. You know, nothing's ever for sure. We just kind of have a good idea that it helps. And, you know, I've had some people, obviously everybody's skeptical about things they see online and, you know, does this really help? Does this really work? Whatever else. But my response to that has always been that, like, the garlic stinks. It's expensive. It adds complexity to production. Same with the glow, you know, all the stuff we put in there that glows. That's more cost, more complexity. It's not something I do for fun. It's not something that makes any of this easier. You know, this is a lot of work, as you can tell. He's really working back there. I'm just running one machine right now. And the only reason we do that is because it legitimately helps you. You always got that added little layer of garlic to help you when they need the scent. You've always got that added layer of the UV reflectiveness, the glows, all that stuff. It's always helping you and it's never hurting you. It's kind of the idea. So that's kind of why we did it, how it came about.